Our second finalist tonight, a company called Chef's Crest. Matthew Fulfak, CEO, created Chef's Crest, the home of homemade food, an online marketplace for homemade food. The platform makes it easier for home-based businesses, food businesses, to sell their delicious homemade food products to individuals in their communities and beyond. The online platform allows home-based food businesses to gain customers through Chef Crest marketing strategies and benefit from online transactions. Matthew is a registered cottage food producer with a background in neuroscience. He understands the struggles of starting a home-based food business, the importance of food on our health, the importance of trusting communities. The company is based in Savage. It was incorporated in 2021. Matthew, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'd just like to start off with a question out here. Who amongst you have ever been to a farmer's market? Perfect. And bought anything over there? Perfect. All right. I'll come to that later. So yeah, Chef's Crest is an online marketplace for homemade food, and we work under the cottage food law. And next I'm just going to explain what the cottage food law is. So the cottage food law is a law that the Minnesota government with the Department of Agriculture passed that allows individuals to make certain items from their home and sell it to the general public. So some of those items may include like cookies, some pies, but there's restrictions to items, but it's a good amount where people can actually sell from their house. And the benefit of having a law like that is that it allows people to start businesses, like get into entrepreneurship, and with that, it makes it easier for them to set up a business from their house. And since it's all remote, they don't have to leave their house, and they understand the whole process of everything because they're all in their house and they don't have to commute anywhere. So that's just a brief summary of what the cottage food law is. And just to go ahead to explain why the people who start home-based food businesses have struggles. So once individuals who start home-based food businesses create their food business or register with the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, the one thing that they always fall into trouble with is marketing their products. So obviously the stuff that they make is great, but now who can they reach, to get their product and buy it from them? That's one thing that they struggle with. Another thing too is that if they do set up that kind of a business and they want to sell online, they don't have the right software infrastructure to process transactions online, because it might seem like we're all used to putting our credit cards into online things, buying from like Marshalls, Macy's and all that stuff. But the actual back-end infrastructure for that is not easy for one person to handle, especially if they're not accustomed to software themselves. And the other thing too is that once they struggle from those two things, they also struggle with getting sales. So their sales are not going to be increased. And the other side of it is that for the customers who are buying some of those things, they don't know where to find anyone with that kind of stuff. Like, who do they know around, apart from like if it's a friend or family, but who do they actually know in their neighborhood who makes stuff like that? And another thing is that, do they trust that person if they go buy it from them? So with our platform, we're going to be solving those problems. So on our platform, we're going to make it easy for individuals who start those businesses by, once they add their products on our platform, they'll benefit from the marketing strategies that we use. So that could go into like online marketing on like Facebook, Google, or Instagram, but it also involves like community, because that's another thing too that we can miss, because having partnerships with businesses, having partnerships with local vendors and all those things definitely helps with getting the word out about a particular item or a particular business. And the other thing too is that for the customers, it will make it easy for them to just type in a zip code, see who pops up and what pops up, and they'll be able to order it from there. And for the customers, the trust that it creates for them is that the people who join our platform, we do a background check on them. We make sure that they have the registration with the Department of Agriculture. So that ensures that if anyone who's buying from us can trust that we made sure that people who are joining our platform are actually verified and are credible to join the platform. So like I said before, for the individuals joining our platform, it's absolutely free. So once they join to our platform for the businesses, it's free for them to sign up. The reason being because having a home-based business is hard enough for them to set up like margins and everything for their business. So making it free for them gives them the opportunity to have good enough margins for their own business, because they're actually running a business, even though it's from their house. So our current way we do it is that we charge 10% of each transaction that's processed on our platform, and that gives us enough margins for our marketing and also gives them enough margin for their business. And on our platform, or in general with the cottage food industry, we do see that an average order is between $25 to about $35, so just like $30. So that gives it a good amount that if you're making an order for someone, you can make a large enough quantity to know that, okay, I'm not just making like a $2 cookie or like something enough, but it's actually a huge enough amount that they can actually make good money from like the size of the order that they're doing. So basically what our platform looks like right now is gonna be what you see up there. So once individuals come into our platform, they'll be able to go through a couple different tabs. So if they click on the Chefs tab, they'll be directed to what the image you see on the top there. So once they get in there, if they know the person directly, they can either search the name up, or if they don't know who's making food in the area, they can type in a zip code, and then the people who make food in that area is gonna pop up around there. And same thing with the image down below. If they click on the menu tab, they'll be directed to like a whole menu of items, and they can put in a zip code, and the images that will pop up will be the individuals who make food in that particular area. The reason being because according to the cottage food law, you're only allowed to, the person who has the business can either deliver the item to you, or you, the person who's ordering from them, has to go pick it up from them. There's not any intermediary or delivery system that's allowed currently. And that's sort of a struggle for some of them. So that's why we make it in such a way that if you're looking for someone to order from them, we try to make it as possible that it's in a neighborhood where you can have like a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive, or you actually know how far you're gonna drive before you order it from them. So the last time when I was here, there were roughly 78 cottage food producers in Scott County. And now it's actually 100. So that number has increased from then, like about August, let's say October 1st to October 21st. And out of those 100, 20 of them are right here in Prior Lake. So when you guys were driving in here, you actually crossed someone who has a homemade food business and you had no idea that the person had it. And in the state of Minnesota in general, there's about 5,000 of individuals who have cottage food businesses from their house. And that's a number that's increased significantly over the past few years since we started in 2015. And out of those 5,000, there's a two-tier system with the cottage food law. So tier 1 allows individuals to make roughly, it was 5,000 a couple years ago, but as of last August actually, sorry, it was up to 7,800, sorry. And for the tier 2 system, individuals can create like an LLC from their house, and they can make up to $78,000 a year. And you might be wondering like, okay, it's cool, you know, which other state has the cottage food law in their state? That's a map of the whole United States and all the states that have it. So the green shows that every state in the United States has a cottage food law. And depending on like how free they are, it could let you know like what the individual is able to make from the house. So the blue state there is Wyoming, and they're an interesting state because with their own cottage food law, individuals who make food from their house can actually sell to restaurants, they can sell to grocery stores, and they're able to make actually up to $250,000 a year from their house. With other states, they're also allowed to sell to grocery stores or it's like restaurants, but other states restricted. And the state in the corner right there with the arrow is pointing is the state of New Jersey, and they passed their cottage food law last year during the pandemic, and individuals in New Jersey are now able to register their cottage food business from their house and sell to individuals in New Jersey. And just like a little projection of financials, like I mentioned before, individuals here in Minnesota with an LLC can make up to $78,500 in sales. So with our model, we're able to bump the remaining 4,500 individuals quite easily from the tier 1 to the tier 2 system. And that's gonna bring in like an annual sales for them of roughly $393 million for them. And with our 10% commission, it's gonna bring us roughly $19 million in sales and revenue for us. And another thing too that's been happening for individuals in sort of kind of a business is that they do catering events, specific catering events. Let's say, for example, if you have a specific birthday cake that you wanted to have, a custom birthday cake or a custom cultural type of menu item, this is kind of a business that would flourish in that kind of environment. And according to the IBS World, the valuation of the catering industry in the United States is roughly $133 billion. And with that, there's roughly about 323 million catering events that are happening off-premise and on-premise that be like at a specific location or at the individual's house. And if we get a 5% market share of that, our valuations and revenues would be about $6.5 billion or potential revenues of $435 million a year. So building such kind of a business requires steps and it requires certain things that to make it work. And As you see on the left there, the white covered ones are the ones that we've already accomplished so far. So with that, we have been able to build the infrastructure. We've been able to have the right team of individuals to lead this kind of a project, and we've had some feedback from our customers. And on the right there with the red circled ones are the things that through this competition we'll be able to achieve. And just a look of a picture right here, the remainder of the team is not here, but I'm the only one representing, but they'll be glad to know that I'm here and they're actually supporting me. So that's all I have for you right now, and I'll look forward to any questions that you have.
Thank you, Matthew. We'll start with questions, and Joseph, we'll let you go first, and we'll come back down the line this way.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So as I read through your presentation materials and listened to your presentation, one question that I had, if you had thought about this or planned for this. So if I, as a customer, use your site and I hook up with a great home food producer and I have a great meal, what's to prevent me from cutting out the middleman on my next meal?
That's definitely true. That's something we definitely thought about, and has given me some nightmares. I'm not gonna lie about that.
That's okay.
But the thing is, for individuals who might want to cut out the middleman like me, you'll be cutting out a lot more options that you could be open to. If you like that one particular person, it's true, you can go ahead and meet them like that, but there's going to be also certain liabilities that you're going to fall into. Let's say, for example, something doesn't work out with that person, or you get some sort of food poisoning or anything. I don't wish that for you, of course, but let's just say you have a disagreement with the person. You're going to be liable for that yourself, but through our platform, you can prevent some of those stuff because we actually do the background check for the person and everything else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Matthew, nice job.
Thank you.
On your target market. I love all the little cottage food makers around here. Two questions for you. How do you think about jobs created in Scott County to support the growth of this business? It's a software platform, so I'm just thinking you could theoretically do it anywhere. How are you guys thinking about jobs? And I'm curious how you landed on the 10% commission rate, because that's a little bit higher than like what Venmo is charging for just the transaction fee. So walk me through the logic on that 10%, how you guys landed on that.
Yeah, okay. So to answer the question about jobs creation, so with our platform, we'll not only be creating jobs in the sense that we'll actually be creating businesses in local areas. So when individuals sign up for our platform, they're actually creating a business for themselves. So it would not just be like a job, but also actually be a business and actually work from home. So anybody from their house, anywhere, can create a business for themselves, and that increases not only the benefits of that business to the general public, but also the community and the state that they're in. And for the 10% aspect, we actually came about that number because we didn't want to make it in such a way where we're overreaching into like their profit margins. For the first year, if you look into the documents that you have ahead of you, we put it at 5% for the first year, so that we don't infringe on like any of the revenues. We're just like getting to know them. But with the additional sales that they're going to get from our platform, the 10% margin is going to help them increase their margin to also help us with the additional marketing and everything that we spend to help them increase their sales and reach out to the community.
Yeah, Matthew, great job.
Thank you.
My question is really around, so right now 5 chefs are using the platform?
Yes, that was before I actually came here. We're roughly at like 12 right now.
Got it. Congratulations on the growth.
Thank you.
I'm curious, in your presentation, you commented on some of the things you've learned from those 5 chefs. And I'd be really interested in, and if you can specifically, what have you learned relative to value creation, what you've done for those, those home chefs, and how does that tie into the additional functionality that you would envision for the platform that has yet to be built?
Yes, definitely. So one thing that kind of shocked me, not really shocked me, but I kind of got a little bit more insight, was that most of the individuals who create cottage food businesses are moms. And with that, they have a busy schedule with themselves. So once they have the cottage food business, they also have to maintain like a family life and on top of a job that they have. So one feature that we added on the platform currently is to create like hours where if an order is placed, they only be able to pick up like during like the free hours that the person included in like their profile. So if they say, for example, a cottage food producer is busy Monday through Friday, but they're available on the weekend. If someone places an order, they'll only be able to pick up during that period when the person's available. So that's one of the things that we learned. And coming around to like the reason why we chose 10% is that we actually got to understand like what their profit margins are and what they do. So those are some of the things that we learned from individuals with cottage food businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
I have just a question to talk a little bit about marketing. So you talked about your chefs going from 5 to 12, but your projections say 1,000. So have you thought about what's really the marketing to grow the number of chefs, obviously, that you need, but also maybe talk a little bit, I know in your documentation you really thought about providing kind of these channels and access to restaurants, hospitality, farmers markets. So I'd like to hear kind of on both sides how you're going to kind of grow really kind of the numbers of people that are providing the product, but then also that are going to be your consumers and users of that.
Yeah, so in terms of growing the product, we actually have a partnership with the Minnesota Cottage Food Producer Association. So they're the ones who manage all the cottage food producers in the whole Minnesota. And we've had conversations with the president and the entire group, and they're willing to help promote us. In addition to that, we've been having the people who join our platform have been members of like the restaurant industry, and they know someone who could be a good fit for that. So they've been recommending us to someone else who would be a good fit for this, and that's how, through that kind of a means, we'll be growing the number of people who provide it. And in terms of like the customers, like people who buy from them, we would would be present in like events around the community that people don't necessarily take advantage of. Like say, for example, Savage has a Halloween festival that's coming up on the 31st. So events like that would definitely get the word out in terms of knowing that, okay, something like this is available in your community and they can have access to homemade food from individuals around them.
Yeah, and it also seems like, a great aspect of growth is when you get into places like local grocery stores and because some of those channels. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how you might help facilitate that?
Yeah, so actually from Minnesota, it might not be possible right now because the cottage food law hasn't caught up to allowing individuals to sell to restaurants and like grocery stores and stuff like that. But definitely with there's certain specific like cultural grocery stores, and they've actually been willing to host some of those items, even though it might not be like a fighting point right now with the law that's not up to date with that. But definitely grocery stores like that, local like mom and pop shops, like set up areas, the people that we talk to are willing to put stuff like that out and get the word out to know that a platform like this exists.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I love learning about new industries, and so as you were speaking, I quickly pulled up the cottage food laws on the state of Minnesota website and was quickly getting up to speed. Just one comment: in my past, I've invested in an online pet marketplace, and that may be a direction I'd recommend you explore further, given that pet snacks is one of the cottage foods here. And for whatever reason, we as humans and pet owners, we have a tendency to spend a lot of money on our pets. So it could be a great growth engine for you. You have a really unique challenge, right? Most online businesses, you have customer acquisition costs. You have to bring customers to your website to purchase your. You have a double challenge, right? You have to bring customers to your website to purchase the cottage foods, but you also have to bring chefs to the website to provide the supply, if you will. And everyone thinks growth is linear. It's actually a step function. You build supply, and then you have to drive demand, build supply, drive demand. So it sounds like you've been focused to date on the supply side, on the chef side. Have you spent any money yet on like acquiring a customer digitally through driving demand and traffic to the website?
Yeah, so prior to actually building the platform, we were just testing out the idea to see if it's even going to be valuable. And we did our own personalized like little marketing on Facebook and joined certain Facebook groups. There's actually a group on there that it's called Minnesota Foodies, and it's around like a local group where individuals around the community post stuff about food, want to know like who around the neighborhood makes what kind of a thing. And like if I make like spaghetti and meatballs for dinner and it looks really cool, I'll post it on there and stuff like that. So through that kind of marketing, we're able to increase sales for a couple of our cottage food producers. That was prior to even setting up the platform just to test the idea. And we know that doing something like that is going to bring customers in. So we actually understand, okay, that's going to be one of the means that we're going to use to get customers to the website to drive demand for it.
No, that's great. It's a great answer. The other thing I was going to ask if you thought about, believe it or not, in Minnesota we have some very large food influencers globally. My next door neighbor, Food Dolls on Instagram, has over 100,000 followers. Have you thought about partnering with one of the influencers here locally to drive demand for your website?
Yeah, we've been trying to reach out to a few. We've been having conversations with some of them, but until we get to a good enough point where we have the critical capacity to actually, once we bring that number of people to the platform to order, we need to have like a good amount of a variety of items on the platform to get people to order. So we've definitely been having conversations with that. We've had conversations with people in the restaurant industry who, could get us out to people as well. So partnering with people, we've had that conversation already, and we're having some people who would be a good fit for promoting that word out for us.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Thank you for your presentation, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you. And just one more thing, these cookies are actually made by one of the local cottage food producers, and she made them out of the logos of the people presenting here. So if you wanted to grab one of yours, I'll put it out there for you guys.
Thank you, very clever.